and welcome back to another one of my thrilling videos. It's great to be back. Well, today you've probably already figured out we're going to be taking a look at Cloner Alliance's Viewlite AV and what a thing it is. I reached out to Cloner Alliance probably the back end of last year, told them that I was kind of interested in their device and would they be kind enough to maybe send me out one for a review. And after a little bit of backwards and forwards, so they could kind of understand what I was going to be doing, they agreed. So thank you very much, Cloner Alliance. And I very much look forward to talking about the Viewlite AV over, I suppose, the next 20 minutes or so, maybe even longer, depends how much more I add on. So I'm going to, as per usual, got my trusty notes right here. So the Viewlite AV, it's a standalone analog to digital bridging device. And you know what? And this is a spoiler alert, I bloody love it. But what exactly is it, I hear some of you ask? Well, let me explain. As you may or may not be aware, I very much enjoy to archive video content from the analog era, namely VHS content, as well as recording analog tape-based video camera footage for many of my reviews on legacy camcorders. And you know what, the Viewlite AV isn't just for recording video camera footage. You can record old video game consoles or DVD video, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. So it must have been around 2018 when I decided that I needed some kind of device which would enable me to capture old camcorder footage on my computer. And at the time, the most reliable and affordable option I found was the Vidbox video converter, which I still have and use to this day. Actual fact, it's just behind me here. Very simple. Just a little plug and play device which you just pop into your computer. Just put that there for now. And obviously, like I say, I still have this and I use this today, and it's been pretty much flawless for me since I purchased it. And for that reason, it has to be mentioned in this video, but it's also good for a comparison purpose, which we'll see later on. It's a very straightforward device, and as this graphic shows, it's very consumer friendly. But in order to use the Vidbox, I need a computer, the respective software, and you know, it's not really very portable. Now, in recent years, I started to wonder why companies like Sony or Panasonic weren't considering a similar device targeted at consumers who want options when it comes to workflow or just saving old memories. Now remember, Sony released the HVR MRC1 around 2008 for its digital cameras, which enabled hassle-free capture from those devices onto a memory card. And this is a big one, it was a portable device. I want portability. Now, my secret fantasy for a while, don't tell anybody, was a company to release a quality portable capture device for my analog capturing needs. And yes, I know that such things have been on the market from Chinese manufacturers, but I've never found a good quality unit which felt cared about by the manufacturer, and that's quite important. You want something that's quality. You know, you don't want something that kind of just does the job. You want to be able to trust it. Well, I don't have to worry anymore because the Viewlite AV from Cloner Alliance is in town and it means business, and it's right here. It is a thing of beauty, and I'm not saying that because I'm making a review. I genuinely really like it. So there you have it. There you go. So there's no software to install. It has a built-in screen which helps to monitor content straight out of the box, and you get a number of useful accessories. There is one tiny drawback from making it truly portable, but I'll talk about that a bit later. So what are you going to get for your $169.99 as it's currently priced on Amazon? Well, without further ado, let me tell you about what this device comes with and what it can do. And then I'll briefly take you through the system menus before offering some comparison videos, including one where I use both the Vidbox and the Viewlite AV to capture the same clip from a VHS. I'm also going to include a capture I made from the DVD player right there, and I'm also going to include a capture that I made from my little mini Nintendo, so that you can kind of have a look at the quality. But don't worry, I'll be back in a little while, so enjoy the next screens and I'll see you in a bit. As mentioned, the Viewlite AV is a standalone device as seen here, and what a lovely device it is. And as is customary on this channel, I just thought I'd give you a quick close-up look at the Viewlite AV in person. So it's quite straightforward really. So here we have our little screen. It's currently got no signal running through it, which is absolutely fine. Then here we have 3 little LEDs. Currently the blue light is solid because my USB pen drive is in there, which means it's ready to rock and roll. Where it says TF, that's where your memory card goes, but there's not one present. And then where it says out, that would indicate if you have an HDMI outputting anything, but at the moment we don't. So moving on to the buttons, just to say they click really nicely. Nice and clunky, you can feel them. So these arrow keys help you navigate around the menu. So if we just press the home button, and let's say we go into the settings, these will just help you to navigate through the various menus. Let's go back out. We have the record and stop button. So when we plug our AV cables into the top here and we're ready to record, it is as simple as putting the USB in, getting the blue light, and then pressing the record button. And when you're ready to stop, you press stop. This photo button here, or camera button should I say, that just enables you to take a screenshot. It is as simple as that. And then when we're up here, that is your switch input sources. So if you've got, say, 2 inputs going in, say S-Video and AV, it enables you to cycle through, and it also tells you what's happening. It's that straightforward. That's the power off button. You have to hold that for about 5 seconds. Volume up and down button. The home button to get back to the menus. And this one allows you to go back through the menus. So if we just go into a menu, select one, select another, and then go back out of the menus. It's as simple as that. You already know that that is where your storage goes, your removable storage. We're going to speak about these sections in a moment. And then last but not least, on the front of the device, because obviously this device can sit flat, like so, you've got the infrared sensor for the remote control, and you have your speakers. And that is about it. In the box, alongside the main unit, you get a remote, AV cables, an HDMI 90-degree adapter, a 3.5mm TRS audio cable to support you with audio to MP3 capture, a USB-C to A cable, power adapter, and your user guide. So now we have all those accessories, we've got this lovely graphic showing the rear of the Viewlite AV and how to use those accessories to get, I suppose, the transfer that we require. If we start on the left-hand side of the picture, you can see the OGS ins and the out, and that is where it's going to enable us to transfer old analog sound into an MP3 file. Then we have an HDMI out, which is fantastic for monitoring what's going on. Then we have an S-Video in port. So if your video camera has got an S-Video out, then we can use that to get the best possible video quality. And then we have our multicoloured ins, generally referred to as your AV ins for your audio and your video cables. And if you're curious what the CVBS, which is above the yellow port, stands for Composite Video Baseline Signal, or Colour Video Blanking and Sync. How exciting! And last but not least, we just have our 5V or 1A power cable, which we plug in right at the end there, which connects into our PC and powers the device. And then last but not least, if we look on the bottom half of the picture, you can see where it says storage. This is located on the right hand side of the device if we're looking at it from the front, or if we look at the picture, it is on the left hand side of the device, on the corner. And that is where we place either or insert our memory card or our USB stick to capture when we're transferring. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. So to recap, and as this graphic demonstrates, the Viewlite AV will enable you to capture analog video files and turn them into digital video files, or it can help you to convert audio signals into high quality MP3 formats. Just a small thing, but I just want to commend Cloner Alliance for including an HDMI out port on the back of the unit, because they don't have to include this, but you know, if you are digitizing or you're recording content and it's going onto that tiny little screen on the Viewlite AV, you know, being able to output it and watch it onto a big screen, especially in HDMI, I just think is a really, really useful thing, and I really appreciate it. And also another thing I really appreciate is the fact that This device has got universal compatibility, and as it states here, accommodating both NTSC and PAL analog video signals, Cloner Alliance Viewlite AV serves as an all-inclusive solution for customers worldwide. And again, I think that's really, really smart. So well done. So out of the box, you get 3 pieces of software which you can download from Cloner Alliance's website. Now, I did download all 3 pieces of this software, but I haven't really used them because they're not really the reason why I bought the device. However, I'm just going to talk about them very briefly. So as you can see on the screen right now, we have the Cloner Alliance helper, and that effectively allows you to download the piece of software for your PC, and then when you plug the Cloner Alliance into your PC and start converting, as long as you've got everything set up correctly, it just enables you to see what is being recorded on the screen. And for some people, that's going to be useful. There may be 1 or 2 little features that I'm missing here, but it just isn't something that I'm going to use, but possibly useful for others. Next up, we have the MP4 cloner. And you know what? Again, I don't have to do this, but this is quite nice. It's just a nice little piece of software which kind of enables you to kind of edit the MP4 video files that you've captured. And, you know, if you're not fortunate enough to be able to afford something like Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro or Adobe, this is probably going to be all that you need, because a lot of the time it's just a little trim here, a little trim there. So yeah, really useful. And finally, we have Cloner Alliance AI Video Enhancer. Now, the idea of this is quite simple. You plug in what you've just captured, use this software, and it creates a softer picture. If you look here at this screen-by-screen comparison, you can see how it's maybe just a little bit softer. However, I have read and seen other people talk about this software online, and it does seem that even a 10-second clip, and I have tried this, can take hours and hours and hours to render. So if you haven't got a decent PC, then you might run into some problems. But like I said, I tried a 10-second clip and it crashed, and my PC's only, what, 4 years old? Last thing on this, one thing that attracted me to Cloner Alliance's Viewlite AV was the fact that they offer a 90-day no-hassle return or a 2-year replacement service. And I think that when companies are that confident in their product, it makes me feel confident. And so far, I do feel pretty confident. So that might make prospective buyers more confident. Okay, so as promised, I'm going to show you the menus of the Viewlite AV. And as that boots up, it almost reminds me of the NES game Metroid. I'll show you a quick picture now. Right, okay, so unfortunately you can't output the signal on this particular unit, or any unit I suppose, so I'm having to use my video camera to zoom into the screen. Otherwise it would have been a much neater presentation. So what are we looking at? So right now this is the Viewlite AV. I have got a USB plugged into the side of the unit, and if I just move the camera ever so slightly, you'll see the light is blue, indicating that a USB is plugged in and present. So this is the main menu that you're greeted to, unless obviously there is video going in, and then hopefully you have a signal. But we're not interested in that at the moment. We want to go to the main menu. So I am using the remote control right here, and I'm now going to press the home button, which will take us to the menu screen. So you have 4 different options that you can choose from right here. You have settings, videos, pictures and audio. If we click on video, let's just hit it and go to OK. There you go. There's plenty on that at the moment. So as you can see, this is some of the stuff that I've been digitizing. And I'm just going to say, for example, just press OK to go to Whose Line Part 2. Whose line is it anyway? So there you go. So if you've got anything recorded on your USB stick, that is where you've located it, and you can just play it back on the screen. So I'm going to go back to the main menu. So if we go along to pictures, there are no pictures. So it will say picture files not found. And then we're going to go to MP3 audio, no files found, because I haven't done anything. But if you had any MP3 or pictures, that's where they'd be. So let's now jump into the settings. So you have quite a few settings to pick from, not too many, which is always good, but enough, I think, to keep most people happy. So first and foremost is your language. It's set in English, so I'm going to leave it in English, but you can change it. Let's going to scroll through those for anyone who's interested. Next up, we have your sources. So we have CVBS, that's effectively your AV in. You can have an S video in, so if you want to record the best type of image quality going, you go to S video. And then you have auxiliary, which is if you're doing anything to record specific audio. But we're going to go back and leave it in CVBS. Okay, next up is your resolutions. So as you can see, I've got it as 640 by 480, and that is because I've been capturing VHS. I like it in its native resolution. However, if you're capturing something that you want to change it, you can go into auto, and that will just do it automatically. Or the other option, you can just leave it in 1080p. But for the moment, I have left it in 640 by 480 because it's the native resolution. Okay, next up is video bitrate. Now, I am happy to admit that I sometimes get things wrong, and this was something that I was a little bit unsure about. So I just want to very briefly touch on video bitrate. Now, as you can see, it's currently set to 4 megabytes per second. You can move along to 6 megabytes per second, 8 megabytes per second, and 10 megabytes per second. And then you cycle back around to 4 megabytes per second. Now, I had to do I had to do a little bit of research to make sure what I was telling you is correct. And I found a really useful little video on YouTube. I will put the link in the description, which helped me to understand bit rates. Effectively, bit rate is the amount of data encoded per second in the video. The higher the bit rate, the higher the quality. The larger the bit rate, larger the file size. There's more data being encoded per second. But this has nothing to do with the resolution. Because the resolution is the pixel size of your video. And this made me start to think about, if I am recording old VHS, am I going to be able to improve the bit rate where it's already been set by when it was recorded? However, when would this possibly come in and be useful? Well, off the top of my head, I know that you can record old, say for example, computer games using the Viewlite AV. So it may well be useful to, say for example, change up to say a 10 megabits per second to, all being well, create a better quality of file size for when you're actually going to be watching it. So, if I'm getting that wrong, then please in the comments let me know. And if I am recorded from an old VHS cassette, can I actually improve the bit rate? In my head it's saying no, but please let me know. Onwards from that, audio bit rate. So we have 128 kilobytes per second, 192, 320, and then we cycle back around. We have our video in volume, so we can just amend that as and when. We have our auxiliary in volume, so we can amend that as and when. We have speaker volume, which again we can amend as and when. LCD brightness, information bar. All the information bar does is display the date and the time of the actual unit. I've got it switched off. It doesn't enable you to kind of output any additional settings. An automatic stop timer, I'm not interested in that. A TF transfer mode for your memory card. System time, reset to default, upgrade firmware, and the current version. And that's it. That is your menu. So quite straightforward really, and I like that. So I hope that that was of use to some of you. Okay, so how did you find that? Did you find it useful? Please let me know in the comments. So now, as I briefly mentioned earlier, what we're going to do is I've made some clips ready for you. I'm that kind of guy to have a look at. So there's some video clips recorded with different bit rates. I don't know as to whether or not this is the best example of showcasing bit rates, but I thought I'd have a go. That is going to be followed by another clip showcasing the change in resolution. So it's going to be the same clip, one in 640 by 480 and the other one in 1080p. And I think it handles it really well. I was looking if it was kind of, what would be the right word, like almost like stretching the image when it looks kind of unnatural, but it doesn't at all. It just looks like the same image in a different resolution. So really, really impressed with that. Then we'll have a comparison of a VHS clip using Vidbox and the Viewlite AV, so you can let me know your thoughts. Then, yes, there's more. There are some clips of some captures I made from the film Taxi Driver on DVD, and then followed by a final clip of me setting up the Viewlite AV to record from my NES Mini. So yeah, I'd like to know what you think, and I'll see you at the end.
Oh, I'm looking for a really good plant, an interesting variety. I'm going to go and see John Critic to get it. So I think I finally tracked down the legendary man himself here at his home at St. Rose. Oh, I'm looking for a really good plant, an interesting variety. I'm going to go and see John Critic to get it. So I think I finally tracked down the legendary man himself here at his home at St. Rose. So which family would that be in?
Verbenaceae.
Right, same family as verbenas. And it's a relative of a thing called the Mexican hat, is it? So which family would that be in?
Verbenaceae.
Right, same family as verbenas. And it's a relative of a thing called the Mexican hat, is it?
There are 5 muggers in and around this area, and tonight I'm going to reveal their identity. Multi-use games areas. Muggers set up with lottery money are at the heart of a pioneering scheme. Located in deprived areas of Blackpool, they give local children a space to play in, and it's all free. Now, because you often have to pay for the leisure facilities at centres, these sort of schemes are extremely popular.
Now, here's something you might be interested in. You know when you record onto a VHS and then you kind of stop it, and sometimes you get like the signal kind of squiggling around at the end? Well, when I captured it on Vidbox and then I captured it on the Viewlite AV, you can see that there seems to be additional kind of interference on the Vidbox. And I don't know if that is because of the cables that I used, if maybe there's a loose connection in the Vidbox, but the signal itself isn't the problem. I was just noticing that there was additional interference on the Vidbox. So if you've got any idea as to what that might be, I'd love to know your thoughts. Okay, and here we just have a very simple capture from DVD, just plugged in to the DVD player using the AV cables and recording it on the Viewlite AV. And as you can see, looks like you would expect it to. So if you have any firm favourites on DVD or VHS, then this is the perfect opportunity to save those memories going forward by using the Viewlite AV.
So what do you want to hack for, Bickle?
I can't sleep nights.
There's porn out there just for that.
Yeah, I know, I tried that.
And last but not least, as promised, a capture from one of my games consoles, not the mini NES as I was hoping, but rather my GameCube, as I forgot that the mini NES only output via HDMI. However, what I would say is a small caveat, I did connect up my Nintendo 64, and whilst the audio was working, there was something not right with the connection, and I used the same cable on my GameCube and that was fine. So it's possibly something to do with the RF out on the N64. So what did you think? What are your thoughts on the Viewlite AV? Is it something that you might like to pick up yourself? Let me know in the comments. So a couple of final thoughts really overall. Like I say, I am genuinely impressed with this device. It does pretty much everything that I could hope that it would do. But a few things. Can't currently use the software on a Mac. So obviously that's my main computer behind me. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I do have a laptop which I bought around 2021, and it's quite a good little laptop. I think it's got about 8 GB of RAM. But like I said, trying to do some of those AI clips was problematic. So what I would say is that if in the future they can release software for the Mac, I can give it a real test and then maybe come back and talk about it then. But that's a little bit of a bugbear. And like I said, the AI software, I would really like to be able to, use that and trying to give you my real thoughts on it. But unfortunately, I'm just not in a position just because of what I said and the software not being available for Mac. So that's disappointing. Now, I said earlier about it being truly portable. Well, there is no rechargeable battery built into the Viewlite AV. However, there is one way around this, and that is by using a power bank. So if I take this in conjunction with my power bank, this is now a portable device, and I think that's great. I don't know, how sad am I? I get excited about a power bank, but my point being, you can just throw this into your bag, take whatever camera that you need, and then, if I'm on my way home and I fancy grabbing a coffee in a cafe, I can just pull out the Viewlite AV, get my power bank, plug in the camera, and away we go. No need for laptops, no need for anything else. So that is the way of getting around it, but I would have liked a rechargeable battery in this. So that's probably more me than on you, but yeah, that's how you make it more portable. And then lastly, there's no opportunity to color correct within the actual system itself. So if you notice on the two clips, which I've done a side-by-side comparison of, you can see that each clip looks slightly different, and in each occasion I've had to color correct. So if I was using the Vidbox, I'd have to color correct, and when I'm using the Viewlite, I have to color correct. It would be really nice if there were menus within that I could actually fine-tune it. However, I realised that depending on the age of the VHS tape or the content I'm recording, that could fluctuate, but just to have more control over it would be, I suppose, useful. So that's it. I hope that this review has been insightful, useful. If there's anything else you might like me to cover, please let me know and I will endeavour to do my best. That's it from me. I'll be signing off and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Hello there again. In classic real film style, I forgot to mention something, so I'm going to tell you now. I just wanted to say that since I've owned the Cloner Alliance Viewlite AV, I've probably digitised up to 10 hours worth of content from VHS cassettes and old video camera cassettes, and I must say I'm mega impressed with it. It hasn't let me down one time at all. Continued recording, I'm never having a problem with it, so yeah, fantastic stuff. So if you enjoyed today's video, then please consider giving it a massive big thumb up, just like the one on the screen. And if you really love my content, then please consider subscribing, making sure you activate the notification bell. Thank you.
Ciao.